Hey, thanks for tuning in. In this video, we're going to talk about a possible ancient depiction of Tzitzit. The issue of the tzitziot, the tzitziot, the tassels, which are commanded in Numbers 15, 37 through 41, and otherwise, there's also the command in Deuteronomy 22:12. There are sometimes a issue of question, because there are a lot of questions about, well, what is really being described in these passages? Or, I don't know what the original application of this command was with the types of garments they wore at the time. Was it only applied to certain kinds of garments? And questions like those sometimes arise, sometimes in part due to the rabbinic traditions, of course. So that we don't have necessarily a lot of information on this issue beyond what it says directly in the text. Now, I think in many ways what the text says directly should be sufficient. There is something interesting that I stumbled upon years ago, though, in researching a completely unrelated issue as far as I remember. There is a picture that I found that is supposed to be a depiction of a painting in a tomb of a pharaoh. And the dating to this picture is supposed to be from around the 1200s period, so shortly after the giving of the Torah. And this is supposed to be a depiction of different groups of people that Pharaoh's people were familiar with, that interacted with. And this one group in particular is supposed to be a people group that lived in the Levant area, that lived northeast and east from Pharaoh's land. And interestingly, it seems that he is wearing tassels on his garment. Now, I am no expert on their artwork by any means, and so anything I say could just be complete coincidence on this. But as far as I could see, I didn't notice any other depictions of any other people that were wearing these things. I didn't notice anyone else wearing any kind of tassels that were similar to this, or really many tassels at all for that matter. So it seemed very interesting because it was isolated, seemingly, to this one people group. And as you can see, it does seem plausible that he's wearing 4 sets of them. Obviously, we can only see the 3, the way that it's depicted, but arguably there could be that other set just on the side that's unseen of the person. So it would seem that this person has these tassels attached to 4 different wings of the garment, 4 different corners, if you will, at the bottom of his kilt-type garment. And I think this is very interesting because of the commandment. Now, we do not know for sure who this person is, what people group he really belonged to, or anything like that. We don't know that for sure that he was any kind of Hebrew, and we don't know for sure that what he is wearing has anything to do with the Torah. But I think it's a very interesting possibility. Now, another thing I want to point out about this image, though, is that obviously it is not the original work. It's not a photograph of the original relief work and original painting. The paint and the actual work has worn over time, and so this is a kind of a recreation of that image. And so while it does depict some of the tassels as being blue in this image, I think we should be careful not to just assume that that is the original color. It could have been something different, and it could have just been the creative license of the person that was trying to recreate it. Maybe that was not the original color. But I think it is an interesting possibility. It could be an ancient depiction of the tzitziot. It could be an ancient depiction of the commanded tassels and how they might have worn them at the time. But we do not know that for a fact. I offer this as a point of interest, and so make sure you don't go and tell people, oh, this is actually definitively what it is, because we don't know that. But it is an interesting possibility. And maybe some of you have seen some other material out there that could relate to this, that could offer some possible insights to the ancient use of these tassels. And by the way, if you haven't already, make sure that you check out my series of videos on the commanded tassels, on the tzitziot. There will be a link in the description below. We talk about the application of the command, the actual text of the command, and some DIY methods to do them on your garments, as the command in Numbers 15:37 through 41 says. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out some of my other videos on other Torah issues, and be sure you stay in touch so we can continue this discussion. Thanks for watching. Remember the commands. Shalom.